Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bronwyn Stevens-Harding, and welcome to Livestream number 7 of our weekly live streams. It's just amazing that we're still going. We're having more and more fun each week, and I'm really, really excited to have 2 new Rogue Opera artists new to the live stream on the show today. That's Sam Young and Alexandra Cowell, and we're going to hear a little bit more from our music director as well. So thank you, as always, to everybody who tunes in every week, who watches the replays, who shares the links and just helps us get news of Rogue Opera out into the world. So as I've said before, the silver linings of this terrible situation is that it encouraged us to go online, encouraged us to find a new way to still share live performances with our audience and with a new audience. And one of Rogue Opera's missions has always been to try and get opera to new audiences and spaces. And, you know, online is certainly a great way to do that. So I do hope we have watchers from all around the world. I know I've definitely got some in Australia and Singapore and Tokyo. That's where my family are. But also all around England. I know Les in South Africa often watches as well. So hello to everybody, and thank you for continuing to watch. So there's a great famous saying that behind every successful woman, there's a strong guy. So the guy behind me is, of course, Guy Murgatroyd, and he's certainly more than just a support. He's one of an integral part of our creative team at Rogue Opera, which also involves our choreographer and movement director, Michelle Buckley, and also Jasmine Adrian Dawson, who not only is a fantastic singer in her own right, is involved on the creative team as assistant director and set designer. So Guy is the person who plays this amazing piano music that you hear every week. I promise it's not some child in China who's whipping out the piano. It is absolutely Guy. And so we really want to feature him a little bit more on these live streams. So he has created a great introduction, and he's going to be educating us each week a little bit more about some musical terms that some people might not be familiar with. So I'm going to hand over to Guy to introduce his new section.
This week's Rogue Opera Live Lounge livestream sees the addition of a new regular feature from me. It's no great secret that classical music and opera are densely packed with technical jargon. Aria, baritone, cavatina, mezzo voce, bel canto. Who has time for these confusing words when you just want to chill out and enjoy some music? So to help with the confusion, I'm launching a new feature, Secco 60. Each week I'll look at a piece of operatic jargon, taking it apart and putting it back together again in just 60 seconds. That's right, it's 60 seconds of Secco suffix-infused secrets from my studio to your sitting room every week.
Thank you, Guy. So we'll be hearing the very first Secco 60 a little bit later in the show. First up this week, I am delighted to welcome wonderful baritone Sam Young. Sam joined us for our production of Don Giovanni last year as Leporello. He premiered actually this year when we were able to do our final live theatre performance, which was at the Shelley Theatre down in Bournemouth. Hi, Shelley Theatre. We're really hoping to get back to you in September with our new production, but if not September, it will happen. So Sam is going to sing for you a wonderful aria from actually our first production, the wonderful Carmen by Bizet, which has featured heavily in these live streams. It's just such wonderful music, and it's music that has gone further than just the pure opera world. It's music that's really in a lot of people's consciousness because it's so catchy, such wonderful pieces of music, great characters, and the music has of course been used in lots of ads. So Sam is going to sing you Votre Toast, which is a celebration song sung by the toreador, the bullfighter Escamillo. And Escamillo is very much an alpha male. He rules the roost. He wears those lovely tight pants and long socks. What girl can say no to those? And when we first meet Escamillo in the production, he has arrived at the tavern where Carmen and her gypsy friends are drinking and enjoying themselves, and he struts in and sings this show-off aria, really. Everyone look at me, look at my peacock feathers. And he walks into a room where there happens to be another alpha, who is, of course, Carmen. So the two of them meeting, you would absolutely expect sparks to fly. and they do. And this is perhaps the start of José's jealousy. So José is the soldier that Carmen has hooked up with. He's also there in the tavern. He's just got out of 2 months of prison, has rushed straight to Carmen to see her, to meet her at the tavern, and he's basically jacked in his life as a soldier. They have a lovely reunion in the tavern, things are going well, and then in struts Escamillo, and Carmen can't help but be distracted. So I'm going to hand over to Sam to introduce himself, and then we will hear the aria, the Toreadors, Votre Toast, and I'll be very happy to step into the role of Carmen and look on from the sidelines. So over to Sam for his introduction.
Hi there, my name is Sam Young, and I'm a baritone based in Surrey. I was lucky enough to first work with Rogue Opera back in January of this year on their production of Don Giovanni, where I played Leporello. In this production of Don Giovanni, Leporello is very much the number 2 to Don Giovanni. I find him a great character. He's fantastic to play. He wants so badly to be just like Don Giovanni. He wants the class, the status, the girls, all the good things that come from being him. But at the same time, he wants to be better than Don Giovanni. He wants to be good. And I find trying to portray his inner turmoil as the show goes on great. It's great fun. The aria I'm going to sing isn't actually from Don Giovanni. It's from Carmen, another opera that Rogue have put on previously. And this is going to be the Toreador aria, Votre Toast. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much.
Great round of applause for Sam with the Toreador aria there. Thank you very much, Sam. It's been a pleasure to have you premiere on our live streams. And, you know, when we are back doing Carmen, I think he's definitely in for a shot at stepping into that role as well. One of the things we love to do at Rogue Opera is to keep revisiting our productions. We get new singers coming in, so we end up having a cast of, you know, 2 or 3 lots of singers who can sing the roles. They know our choreography, ably directed by Michelle Buckley, and then we can take those operas almost anywhere. The model is that we are quite flexible. We have a small cast. We have a piano, perhaps an instrument or 2. We have a set which can be very easily packed down into just a small van, and then we can recreate opera, bring it out to new audiences, to new spaces. And I really can't wait until we are able to do that back in the real world. So my next song, or my first song for you today, we are returning to Don Giovanni. So a little bit later on, we'll be hearing from Alexandra Cowell, one of our wonderful sopranos, and she'll also be singing a Don Giovanni aria. So Alexandra's character in Don Giovanni is Donna Anna. My character in Don Giovanni is Donna Elvira. So both of these women are quite high status. In our production, we updated it to set it in Milan Fashion Week rather than its traditional 18th century setting, just to make it a little bit more accessible. So Don Giovanni is a bit of a Lothario. You know, he goes around Milan, in this case, sleeping with whoever he wants to, charming people, stealing hearts, breaking them, generally behaving pretty badly. And we have set him as the head of his own fashion brand, Don G, which gives him that status and charisma and celebrity that allows him to get away with his bad behaviour. In this world, Donna Elvira is a fashion magazine editor, so she is a similar high status to Don Giovanni and has a little bit of power over him. She has been seduced by him, so they've always known each other, they've been revolving in the same sphere, and then a little while before the opera starts, they have 3 days of unbridled passion. You know, she doesn't answer her phone, no one knows how to get hold of her, and she emerges from this thinking that they're going to get married, that this is it. She's finally let somebody into her life, an equal man who's very charming, but also, you know, someone who's of a similar status to her. Unfortunately, after 3 days, Don Giovanni just leaves and she doesn't hear from him again. He doesn't answer her texts, he ghosts her. So when we first meet Donna Elvira at the very beginning of the opera, she comes in to Don Giovanni's studio at the Fashion Week, and she's determined to confront him, to demand answers, to rip out his heart, and to, you know, just, she really doesn't know. She's very angry, but she's still in love with him. This doesn't go well because she's caught in the middle of this raging aria, and instead of coming in calmly and just saying to him, you know, what's going on, nice to see you here, your fashion show's a bit rubbish, he catches her really, really unprepared and in a hysterical state. In this second aria, she gets to turn the tables on Don Giovanni. So she has walked back into the catwalk. She catches Don Giovanni with his next conquest, Zerlina, literally on the floor in a very compromising position. And this time she is in the position of strength, and she gets to just sing this aria, really sneering at Don Giovanni and just saying, as if I needed any more proof of the kind of man you were. Here you are with this young girl, and she's telling Zerlina, look, just don't bother with him. You know, he's no good. He's no good. He's everything he says is lies. Just leave him. Come away with me. He's a traitor. Everything that he does and says is worthless. So this is A Fuggi from Mozart's Don Giovanni, sung by Donna Elvira. So as I said, she storms off the stage, or not storms, she struts, having made her point, thinks that that's it. As the opera goes on, she gets torn back into the world of, gosh, if I could just make him, if I could just fix him, if I could just change him, maybe we'd have a hope. I'm sure many of us women out there have been in that situation with certain bad boys. Never works, trust me. Now it's my pleasure to reintroduce Guy. As we said at the beginning, he's constructing a weekly Secco 60, and he's going to unpack a little bit of the terminology that might be used to describe the aria that our wonderful soprano Alexandra Cowell is going to sing just after that. So I'll let Guy have his words, and then I will introduce Sasha's aria, and then we'll hear from the lovely Sasha. So over to Guy for his very first premiere on the Rogue Opera live streams, his very first Secco 60.
Hello and welcome to Secco 60, where each week I look at a different aspect of operatic terminology in just 60 seconds. This week I'm looking at the term cabaletta. Non mi dir is an example of a cabaletta aria. What is a cabaletta? It is a musical form used when composing solo operatic music that typically consists of a slower section followed by a faster section. Where did it come from? The name derives from the Italian word cavallo, or horse. This is because in its early development in the mid-18th century, caballettas were typically dominated by strong repetitive rhythms that literally galloped the singer along. Why do composers use it? The traditional form for composing an aria is called da capo. That's essentially one mood followed by a contrasting mood, and then the first mood again with some embellishment. There is not much room in this for character development. While a cabaletta is also in two halves, each half is at liberty to wander through as many moods as the composer best feels will represent the libretto, so a cabaletta allows for greater character development. You can hear this in Non mi dir, which opens with slow music reflecting Donna Anna's thoughts for the present, followed by a much faster concluding section reflecting her thoughts for the future. That's this week's Secco 60. See you next week.
Thank you, Guy. It just makes me smile every time I see that. It's just, yeah, I love it. So I can't wait for each week to bring you a new Secco 60 as Guy unpacks some more of the amazing depth of music that goes into composing opera, classical music, all genres of music. If you don't know the jargon even, then, you know, sometimes it might be a little bit hard to understand. And of course, you don't need to know the jargon to appreciate the characters and the music. But at Rogue Opera, we love to add layers and layers to what we can offer you. And so I'm so excited, and thank you very much, Guy, for that wonderful Secco 60. So the aria that he was talking about, Non mi dir, is Donna Anna, the other character that is the high-status woman in Don Giovanni. Donna Anna's last aria. It comes right towards the end of the opera. And Donna Anna's journey throughout the production has been quite tormented. So in our world, in our production, she's a socialite. She is the daughter of another fashion house, the Commendatore. So her father was also a famous fashion designer. He's now the eldest statesman in the fashion world. In fact, he sort of gave Don Giovanni his opening chance. And so Don Giovanni and Donna Anna have had a bit of a backstory. You know, they've probably had flirting, maybe they've got together. At the very opening of the opera, we see them together. And it gets a little bit violent, I have to say. Anna decides it's not the kind of encounter that she wants, so she rejects him and leaves. And as this fight is happening, her father comes in and saves her, basically. So another important point, as often happens in opera, Don Giovanni is masked, so neither of them at this point realise who he is. The Commendatore is killed by Don Giovanni. Anna comes back in and discovers her father dead, pretty much at her fault for being involved in some kind of illicit interaction at the fashion parade when she really should have just been with her fiancé, Ottavio, drinking champagne. So we see Anna go through this whole journey of guilt throughout the opera, and her long-suffering fiancé, Ottavio, tries everything he can to make her better. And, you know, we have these archetypal bad boy in Don Giovanni. Ottavio is the archetypal good guy. You know, he's very caring, he listens to her, he respects her, he gives her all the space she needs. It's what we should all want in a man. Donna Anna goes on this journey where she knows it's good for her. Does she really love him? She's not sure. And every time he tries to comfort her, she just pushes him away more and more. When we get to this aria, Ottavio has tried the last thing he can think of to try and, you know, give her some comfort, which is completely inappropriately, literally about 2 hours after her father has died, he proposes to her. So initially at the beginning of the, she rejects him, and she's, how can you do this at this time? How can you how can you even think of asking me to marry you when my father's not here? And then as the aria progresses, she comes out of that sorrow and she promises him that actually, just be patient, and, I can see a way through this, and I can see a way for us to be together. So I'm going to hand over to Sasha to just introduce herself, and then you're going to hear her sing the absolute socks off this amazing aria, Non mi dir, from Mozart's Don Giovanni.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Cowell, otherwise known sometimes as Sasha. I'm a soprano and I have been singing with Rogue Opera now since September 2018, when I was very honoured to be cast as Michaela and Frasquita in Rogue Opera's Carmen. I have most recently sung the role of Donna Anna in Don Giovanni, which is a role that is incredibly close to my heart. She is the diva of all divas who has grown up in a very sheltered and privileged world and then sees it all come crashing down around her. I just adore playing this character because it's so incredibly fun dramatically to delve into the psyche of this woman who just throws all her toys out of the pram when things don't go her way. I would just like to say before I go how incredibly grateful I am to Rogue Opera for continuing to keep us singing throughout this crazy time, and also to my friend Maxine, who lent me tons of recording equipment. Thank you, Max. I'm so excited to use it.
Amazing, Sasha. What attitude. It's such a pleasure to see you sing that aria again, having seen you sing it so many wonderful times last year and at the beginning of this year, as I mentioned, at the Shelley Theatre when we were able to do that production on stage. So as I say, every week we can't wait to get back to live performances. I do hope if you are in the UK that you sign up to our mailing list so that we can keep you updated as to when those live performances might be. And until then, we're going to keep doing this live stream every week. We are also now offering really great packages that you could buy for special occasions. You could have your very own live stream gala, perhaps for someone's birthday, or get a group of people together in one house if you're a household, or even a few households together, and you would have a dedicated live stream like this with myself and some of the wonderful Rogue Opera artists. We're also developing online workshops, so I'll be telling you more about those in the coming weeks. So very excited next week. We're going to have an international guest all the way from Australia via video. We will have the wonderful Brad Cooper, not of Bradley Cooper fame. He's even better than the actor Brad Cooper. So Brad, I met earlier this year. We did a fundraiser just here in Balham in my local church in the beginning of February, and that was a fundraiser to raise money for the bushfires, which at that time had been ravaging Australia. And my goodness, what a long time ago that seems. So I got together a wonderful group of 7 Australian singers and a wonderful Australian pianist, Nicole Panina, and we raised over £4,500 that night. So Brad is in Sydney. He went home when this all started, and he's going to be recording a video for us, and he'll be featuring next week. So not only are we sending our live stream out to international audiences, it means I can work with singers all around the world as well, which is really exciting. The other exciting thing that's happening this week is we've been part of the Wandsworth Arts Fringe. We were meant to be part of that physically this year. The Wandsworth Arts Fringe has been a huge part of Rogue Opera's growth. Our first 2 productions, Carmen and Don Giovanni, both premiered as part of the Fringe in 2018 and 2019. And this year we were going to present a fun opera cabaret sort of dining experience at the Bedford Hotel, just here in Balham. And we were also going to be doing some pop-up opera performances with 4 singers and Guy on piano in the bandstand in Clapham Common, in some shopping centres down by Putney Riverside. And the idea of those was to give people a chance just to wander by and experience some amazing opera music and get a little bit of an introduction to the characters. We're now doing that kind of thing, the cabaret and the pop-up, online. So tonight at 6 p.m, we'll be live again, and this time the Wandsworth Arts Fringe, thanks to their wonderful team there, they're going to be multi-streaming that, so it will be on our Facebook, it will be on their Facebook, I think it's on their Twitter. So yeah, do have a look out for Rogue Opera and the Wandsworth Arts Fringe at 6 p.m. tonight, and I'm excited about that because being on Twitter, I can have the very high-tech solution of having my iPad on a little music stand in front of me. So between songs, I can see people's comments. So if you are watching on any of those interfaces, actually just save Facebook for now. I'm not going to be able to switch between Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. It will be on all those platforms. I'll be looking out for comments on Facebook, and I'd love you to all say hi. So my last song for you today is a wonderful story. It's the typical story of man sells his soul to the devil. The devil gives him everything he wants in life. Man seduces young girl, gets her pregnant, abandons her. She's disgraced and cast out, and then the man, goes and suffers eternal damnation in the afterlife. In amongst this story, there is a wonderful character. So the man in this, it's the story of Faust, of course, for people who know their German literature, and it's come into more modern stories as well. The man is Faust, the woman is Margarita, and the character that I would play in this opera is another trouser role. So mezzo-sopranos, my voice type, often get to play fiery women like Donna Elvira or Carmen, old crones, or young boys, or as I said the other week, men who have a bit of a conscience, it seems. It always seems the tenors are the ones who, tenors and baritones are the ones who are really, dark-hearted, and when the mezzo gets to play the man, we've got that... that feminine side that makes us more understanding towards women. Nice history lesson there, I think. So Sibel is a young boy. He has been charged by Margarita's brother to look after her, basically look after her modesty in that time and make sure she doesn't get into trouble. So Sibel is trying to do this. He's quite young and he has the added complication that he's actually in love himself with Margarita. But he's way too shy to even hint to her that that's how he feels, unlike another young character that mezzos often get to play, which is Cherubino from The Marriage of Figaro, a song that I sang a couple of weeks ago. So Cherubino has no shame about telling everyone he knows that he's infatuated with them. Sibel is exactly the opposite. The only way that he can declare his love is through flowers. So he's gathering some flowers that he's going to give as a gift to Margarita, and he hopes that this gift of flowers, he'll tell the flowers how much he loves her, and then the flowers will be able to tell her, they'll be able to pass on the words that he can't say to her, and he hopes that actually as she gathers the flowers to sniff them, the flowers that he's lovingly kissed as he gathers them, perhaps they'll also brush her lips with a sweet kiss, un doux baiser. There's a little section in the middle where he is afraid that the devil, Mephistopheles, I can never quite get that one out, has cursed him, so that as he's gathering flowers, they're just withering. And then he finds some flowers by a holy spring where he knows that Margarita comes every day to pray, and he manages to pick those flowers and ends with this joyful declaration that yes, he's going to give her the flowers, and this will make her realise that he loves her. So this is Faites-lui mes aveux from Faust, and it's by the French composer Charles Gounod. So thank you, as always, to Guy for his wonderful playing. He's just an absolute genius on the piano. He can make, these amazing pieces of music that are written for full orchestra. They're reduced down to piano. We do that so we can be more flexible. Guy has this incredible skill to really bring alive so many different characteristics and go some of the way towards filling in, a full orchestra. And absolutely, hearing an opera with a full orchestra is a wonderful experience. But at the moment, that's certainly not possible. For Rogue Opera, that adds a whole lot of people and cost. And what we firmly believe is that we're able to bring you the wonderful characters, the wonderful stories, the emotions, and actually the beauty of piano and voice together with perhaps one or two instruments in sort of intimate spaces that we like to perform in, up to 200, 300 people, really, really captures the essence of the operas that we present. So thank you so much for watching again this week. If you would love to share, we would be very happy. Please tell everybody that you know, tell people that you think might not be interested in opera, just come and have a little try. One of my friends told me the other day, he's a heavy metal bass player. He has never listened to opera before. Because of these live streams, he listened in 1 week, and now apparently he tunes in every single Friday lunchtime. So Cameron, I hope you enjoyed today, and thank you for being possibly my first heavy metal convert fan. Also, there's the donate symbol somewhere on the screen, so if you are able to help us at all by donating to our COVID-19 Artists Fund, all that money goes directly to continuing to pay all our artists to come onto this live stream, and also, as I mentioned, to develop our workshops and that kind of thing. So next week, another lovely program for you. I can't wait to see you all next Friday, and of course, hopefully some of you as well this evening, where we'll have some different guest artists and some different songs. So if you do tune at 6 p.m. on Facebook, then there'll be another whole Opera Cabaret program for you. So this is me, Bronwyn Stevens-Harding, Director of Rogue Opera, saying thank you to Sasha, to Alexandra Cowell, thank you to Sam Young, and thank you to Guy for his playing and also his lovely new segment, the Secco 60. So that's all I have time for, and I'm going to say goodbye and see you next week.